You crouch in the mud before dawn, fog thick enough to taste, and behind you sit rows of steel cylinders chained to the trench wall. Nobody told you what's inside them yet. You just know the officers keep checking their watches like something's about to start. The man beside you isn't infantry, he's Royal Engineers, assigned to the valves. His hands rest on the brass fittings like he's holding something alive. You don't know his name, only that his job today is bigger than yours. Word moves down the line in whispers, chlorine gas. First time anyone's used it meant to choke the Germans out of their trenches before you go over the top. You've heard it kills without warning. So has he. You watch him glance up at a strip of cloth tied to a stick, checking the wind again and again. It barely moves. That's not a good sign, and you both know it. Earlier this morning, an officer with the weather instruments said the breeze was too weak, too unpredictable, hardly enough to carry gas toward the enemy at all. Nobody listened. The attack is already set in motion. Down the trench line, a whistle cuts through the fog, and a voice shouts the order. Open the valves. The engineer beside you looks at you for half a second longer than he should, then turns the handle. A hiss fills the air, low and steady, and a yellow-green fog crawls up over the parapet. It rolls out slow, heavy, hugging the ground like it's alive. For a moment, it drifts exactly where it's supposed to. You allow yourself one breath of relief watching it roll toward the German wire. Then you feel it, on the back of your neck, the air shifting. The wind just changed direction. The cloud stalls in the open ground, curls on itself, and starts drifting back the way it came. Toward you, toward every man in this trench. Someone screams the word mask, and the whole trench erupts into motion. You claw at the canvas hood hanging from your neck, fingers suddenly clumsy. The straps tangled from sitting too long in the damp. You turn to check on the engineer, the one whose hand was on the valve. He's frozen, still gripping the brass fitting, trying to shut off gas that's already loose in the air around both of you. The smell hits you first, sharp, like bleach poured straight into your throat. Then the burning starts, in your eyes, in your lungs, and men around you are already doubling over, coughing up something dark. You get your mask sealed just in time. He doesn't. His hood slipped when he grabbed for the valve, and now he's gasping, clawing at his own throat like something is closing it from inside. You grab him, try to drag him back from the worst of the cloud, but the trench is narrow and bodies are already piling against each other. Some collapsed, some just clawing at their own masks. Up the line, officers are shouting over each other, some ordering men forward into the gas toward the German wire, others screaming to fall back. Nobody agrees on what to do, and the cloud just keeps rolling. That's when it lands on you, the thing nobody said out loud before this morning. The weapon meant to kill the enemy across no man's land just turned around, and it's your own side choking on it. The engineer beside you goes still, not resting, still. His hand finally slides off the valve, and you realize he's not going to get up again. You keep your mask on for what feels like an hour, though it's probably only minutes, listening to men cough themselves raw around you. Nobody's shooting from the German side. They don't need to. When the air finally clears enough to breathe without the mask, you see the trench properly for the first time. Stretcher bearers stepping over men who aren't moving. Your own weapon did more damage in 10 minutes than the German guns did all morning. Your throat burns for days afterward, and every breath feels like swallowing wire. You survive. Not everyone beside you did, and it wasn't the enemy that got them. This is the Battle of Loos, September the 25th, 1915. It was the first time the British Army ever used poison gas in this war. That morning, a weather officer had already warned commanders the wind was too weak and too unreliable to guarantee the gas would even reach the German lines. The attack went ahead anyway. In several sectors, exactly what he predicted happened. The wind failed, and the gas drifted back over the trenches it was released from. Nearly 2,000 British soldiers were gassed that day by their own weapon, some fatally, in a battle that was supposed to break the German line and instead cost tens of thousands of casualties for almost no ground gained. After Loos, the army changed how gas was deployed, setting strict minimum wind speed requirements and improving mask designs because the lesson had been paid for in soldiers' own lungs. The soldier beside you that day wasn't the enemy. He wasn't even careless. He was following orders from men who chose to gamble with the wind and lost. So ask yourself, if you'd been standing in that trench, mask half sealed, watching the wind change, would you have trusted the order to open the valve?